relationship with money, because you have, again, this very broad relationship with money. I hope you're thinking about this as we're talking. Like, do I avoid changing my bank just because kind of don't feel like going down that road? That's, what would it be like in your regular relationship if that's how you were treating it? Yeah, I probably, should look at X, Y, and Z, or having this conversation with my partner, but it's a lot of work. That doesn't really get you anywhere in your relationship. And this is a relationship that should be moving forward all the time. Again, this relationship isn't going anywhere. Your money relationship, like it or not, you're stuck with it. So you might as well build it into something that is going to work for you.
Your relationship with money matters. I'm Michelle Perkins, and this is the Money and You podcast, where I will be breaking down your relationship with money, offering tough love money tips, and a money dating plan that will focus on lifting the barriers to success to help pave the way for better money practices and increased wealth. It's time to take control to live a limit-free life. It starts today.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Money and You show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host, and we are broadcasting from ubngo.com. I'm here at home today, not in the studio, so that's kind of interesting and fun. I have a really great solo show for you today. I want to talk about the relationships that you might not realize are actually attached to your relationship with money. Sounds a little weird, so stay with us here so you can understand, because I think this is going to be really helpful for people. I've been wanting for a while to do a solo show so I could get back to my favorite topic, which is your relationship with money, how you manage it, how you handle it, what you do with it, what you don't do with it. And so I started thinking about some things. And just like in a regular relationship with your kids, your partner, your business colleagues, you have these attached relationships, right? You have relationships that are maybe your couple friends or, other relationships that you interact with and you relate to. And because the central point is the main relationship you're in, and then you've got these offshoot relationships, I think we can think about money the same way. So we have our relationship with money, and then we have these attached relationships, like your bank, for instance. So your bank is something you probably don't give a lot of thought to. And I give a lot of thought to it because I'm often trying to think, how can I improve that relationship? Or is there even a relationship there at all? I always recommend for people to get to know their banker. This was actually a tip I got from my old best friend for 40 some years, who was a banker, and said, when you start a business, you must have a relationship with a banker. And I don't think many people do that. And so my philosophy has always been, I have a couple banks. I have a small bank where I know I can talk to people. I can walk in, they're going to know my name. I'm going to be able to ask them weird questions. I'm going to be able to talk to them and get advice from them in a more tangible, real way. Then I have my bigger banks, the ones that when you call, you get random people and they don't know you, but they're very helpful in a lot of ways. I have my credit union too, because those people I've known since my Disney days. It's actually my Disney credit union. So some of them have worked there for 40 years. Banking is an interesting relationship. It's one you probably interact with every day. So it's almost like those people you see every day. Maybe they are your work colleagues. And, the central relationship is with your work. And then you've got these work colleagues. Well, your central relationship is your relationship with money. And your bank is sort of the institution that you deal with on a regular basis. You might not consciously think about how important that is, but I want you to. So I want you to think about, what bank am I using, or banks, and why? Do they have certain, purposes? Are they just the bank that I set myself up with years ago because I moved into a town and it looked like a good bank, and so I went there and I got an account or two, and that's been my bank for no other reason than it was convenient, it was nearby? Have you given any thought to whether it's the right bank for you for where you are right now? There are so many things we can look at within banking. We might get credit cards with them. We might get loans with them. We might be earning interest or paying fees or all kinds of things that bank does. And are we paying attention to it? I think it's really important to look at your banking relationships and make sure that they're purposeful, make sure that they're conscious. They aren't just sort of, you fell into it and it's a pain in the neck to change it. So you stay with it. Or you just haven't even thought about what else is out there, what else is possible, right? So think about your banking relationships. If you have numerous banks, sometimes that's a great thing because you're taking advantage of value added things that other banks offer, or you've just accumulated banks and it's actually just making your whole banking experience more complicated. I love simplifying and really thinking through who you're dealing with. And I know it can seem like work to change banks. You have to, maybe you have to go down there. Maybe you have to, do more research, whatever it is. There might be some time involved, but there can be some very long-term financial advantages to having a bank that offers you certain things and that you like, and where maybe you do have access to advisory services that could help you. So I would advise you right now or at least get you to think, I hope, about kind of evaluating your banking relationships. Is it even a relationship? Is it kind of a non-relationship? And how could you make it a better relationship? So that's a big one that I want to talk about, because that's one of those that you actually, like it or not, you're interacting every day. You're using your debit card, you're depositing money from your paycheck, you're, whatever it is. And banks differ greatly and they're competitive. And so you really want to see where you can give yourself a bit of an advantage and make that relationship with your bank something that you're thinking about and you're using properly and you're enjoying. If your bank drives you crazy, if you're always running into, fees or something you don't like, don't keep that bank. And that's the beauty of this relationship. That's the beauty of all of these relationships, is you're creating them and you can fix them. You can change them. You can get rid of them. So even if it takes a little time, the benefit of that can be really great in terms of, financial advantages and also just in terms of your time and your energy. And if it's an aggravating relationship, unlike those work colleagues who you may not be able to get rid of, you can get rid of your bank. You can do better than what you're doing in that relationship. So think about that. That's a big one. Then I'm going to go toward another relationship that you have. It's with your creditors, with those people you owe money to, those lenders, whether it's a mortgage, a car loan, credit cards, you name it. Most likely you have creditors. Even the simple ones, the basic, vendors that you have or companies that you deal with that you have to pay each month. And I also want you to think about that relationship you have with your credit score, because that really goes along with all of this. And I've been kind of really tuned into the whole credit scores conversation lately. There was a show a couple times ago with Dion Perry. And we talked a lot about credit scores, and she had written these 2 books. She wrote the Credit Lit Monthly Planner. This is more geared for adults, a 12-month planner. Kind of touches on some other areas, too, of money and budgeting, things like that. This is Credit Lit for teens. Very simple, fun, sort of, it's kind of designed like with little cartoons and questions for your teenager. And I get questions all the time about how can my kids learn more. She wrote those books, and you can listen to her podcast, and she gets into the ins and outs of credit. But that relationship you have with credit is super interesting. It might be something you pay no attention to. You might be one of those people who's never looked at your credit score. You've never gotten the reports to see if there are errors on there from the different credit reporting agencies like Experian and TransUnion. So you might be that person who's just sort of crossing your fingers and hoping that, your credit score is going to be okay and go up. You might be the type of person who's kind of fanatical about it and follows yourself on Credit Karma or whatever and is looking every day to see if it's up or down. think about who you are with your credit, because that is a relationship you have too, a big one, actually. It impacts a lot of things. It impacts the interest rates you're going to pay on everything. You have a high credit score, you're going to pay lower interest on your whatever it is that you're borrowing for, and vice versa. So you're going out to buy a car, you have a poor credit score, you might still get that car, but you're going to pay a really high interest rate. And that's a function of your credit score. That's a relationship within your money relationship. So, sometimes we look at things in a broad view, and sometimes we need to look at them in a bit more of a micro view. And certainly with money, you want to know all these components. That's what the whole money dating plan is about. It's digging into the components that are making up your overall money relationship. And each one has these sort of feelings and beliefs around it too. If you have had a rough go when it comes to credit, you might have some pretty serious negative beliefs around yourself and money and credit. So that's a really important one to dig into. And you can absolutely improve your credit score on your own without paying a company monthly to do it. If you want to do that, that's a choice you can make, but you can also do it yourself. And you can even buy these books from me. I'm going to be Dion's ambassador. And so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the show notes. You can get them from Amazon. You can get them from her website, creditlit.org. She is doing a great job of helping people with this. And this is part of the relationship. This is something maybe you don't check in every day, but you're checking in, or it's just showing up. It's like that relationship where somebody you haven't seen for a long time, or maybe a relative you don't even want to see, is going to pop up into your world when you need to borrow money. So best to know what you're doing going in and prepare. It does take a while to improve your credit. I actually have been working on mine for a couple of years, and I've just finally broken through where I wanted to get to, but it's taken me a while. It's been, conscious effort of paying attention to paying on time, to having, kind of less of a balance on my cards, things like that. So, and sometimes we can slip into a poor credit situation unknowingly. We can do it because we just don't have a choice in the moment with circumstances going on. So, you can go down into a rabbit hole with that. You can get very negative about yourself and your credit and think it's hopeless. And I'm just here to tell you it's absolutely not. It's like any other relationship. You just have to be aware of where you are, aware of some of the things going on that have created some of the conflict, and work on it. So credit is, again, part of this relationship that you really want to pay attention to and get a hold of. And number 3, advisors. Now, this is an interesting one because a lot of people don't think they need financial advisors. Maybe they don't feel like they're earning enough to go out and start working with advisors. Maybe they feel that, oh gosh, I can learn this on my own. I'm not going to pay somebody. I'm not going to pay fees. I'm just going to figure this out and then I'll advise myself. Not the best way to think about this, because advisors can help you get to where you want to go. And a lot of people have it backwards. They want to get to where they want to go and then hire the advisor. What's the point of the advisor? The advisor is there to help you get there, wherever there is. So I would highly recommend that you hire investment advisors before you feel ready, actually. Maybe they won't even be ready to work with you. Maybe you'll have to wait, but they will be happy to give you some ideas of what you can do on your own to get to where you could work with them. Or they will advise you to find different advisors who will work with anybody at any point. There are many, many advisors out there. Your relationship with your advisor is similar to your relationship with your bank. Sometimes we're thrown into a relationship and we stay there without it really working for us, or for other reasons. He was my dad's advisor, and so that's who I've used. I don't really know him that well, or her, or I feel comfortable asking them questions. But that's who my dad used. So that's why I'm with this person. I would really think, again, shop around, talk to multiple people, do your research. Get to know them. You must have a rapport with your advisor. You must feel comfortable picking up the phone and calling them and asking them what you might think are silly questions or complicated questions to which you need a kind of layman's answer. If that person can't do that for you, they're probably not a good fit. And advisors, again, takes a little work, can be a little time consuming to find a new one, but you will not feel good about yourself. Time is money. And if you're not working with good people from the start, you will lose out on whatever time, that you could be earning with them. So you want somebody who seems like they actually care. I mean, there are plenty of them out there who really do. So don't be with somebody who is kind of, doing this without you feeling that they care about your financial future, because they should. That's their job. So look for advisors. That could be investment advisors. That could be insurance advisors. That's definitely going to be your tax accountant. I'm a big fan of having a tax accountant who gets to know you, who you can stick with, who is always thinking. It's funny because they don't all think about the same thing. So you need multiple people. Your tax accountant is trying to save you money on taxes. Your investment advisor is trying to make you the most money in, whatever investment arena you're playing in. They don't always kind of go in the same direction. And so that's where it's good for these advisors to actually speak with one another, because there are things you can do to benefit you tax-wise that might actually cause you to sacrifice some other things. I've heard a million times, oh, I don't want to make too much money, I'll have to pay more taxes, which is kind of not the way you want to think. And your tax accountant may be saying, oh, well, keep it to right here so that you don't pay taxes or you pay the same taxes as last year. Think about that. That is that person's job, to save you money, in terms of tax. Is it for your greater good? Is it really helping you achieve your bigger vision? I don't know. Making less money doesn't sound like it to me, but people can have a little bit of tunnel vision depending on their expertise. So look at your relationships. Again, if they don't feel like real relationships that you're enjoying, they're not the right person. And there are so many people out there. I've had so many of them on my show. So I would really say, think about the advisors that you need. Learn more about who is out there. I happen to really like having good insurance advisors, because insurance is a big deal too. And you may have legal advisors. There are some great business attorneys out there who can help you structure your business. Sometimes your tax accountant can do that too, but also just kind of tell you some of the things that you should be thinking about in your business that you may not be. I just had a call last week with a woman I met at a business function that I went to, and she is a business attorney. And I learned a lot of things from her. It was a great conversation. And I'm going to do a couple of things that she suggested, and I'm really happy I had that conversation. I would suggest that you have more conversations. If nothing else, whether you go with people, don't go with them, have conversations. You will learn in every conversation. You'll build confidence. You'll feel better that you're moving in the direction of kind of taking care of your financial health and well-being. And advisors can really help you. As for the people who say, I'll learn it on my own and I'll take care of myself in with regard to investments or whatever. Can you do that? Of course. Are you going to lose time if you're basically spending 5 years learning something before you start investing? Possibly. So think about that. You can do both. You can have managed accounts, and then you can have some accounts that you manage yourself. You can mix it up. And if you really want to learn, you can learn while you're investing with someone else. And then you can take it over if you really love that so much. I would say a mix is good. Or if you're not doing it because you want to learn how to do it and there's never time to learn it, forget that. Go with somebody else who can help you earn money now. Okay. And as far as the last one I want to talk about, the last relationship within a relationship with money, because you have, again, this very broad relationship with money. I hope you're thinking about this as we're talking. Like, do I avoid changing my bank just because kind of don't feel like going down that road. That's, what would it be like in your regular relationship if that's how you were treating it? Yeah, I probably, should look at X, Y, and Z, or having this conversation with my partner, but it's a lot of work. That doesn't really get you anywhere in your relationship. And this is a relationship that should be moving forward all the time. Again, this relationship isn't going anywhere. Your money relationship, like it or not, you're stuck with it. So you might as well build it into something that is going to work for you. So, last one, money mentors. That is different than advisors. Money mentors could be friends. They could be parents. They could be teachers. They could be just people in your world who is around you, not so much advising you, although that could be part of it, who's teaching you about money, who is sharing their opinions and their beliefs and their feelings around money. If everyone you're around is telling you just how tough it is, just how, defeated they feel when it comes to money, how they can't get ahead, they can't save, they can't get out of debt, they can't get a better job, they can't earn more in their business. Whew, that's a lot of negativity and a lot of beliefs that you do not need to be taking in and taking with you out into the world. And that is not going to enhance your money relationship. If anything, that's going to make you scared of it. That's going to make you want to stick your head in the sand. That's going to make you watch a lot of Netflix instead of thinking about your money. So find your money mentors, those people who are maybe doing some things that are worthwhile. I have a girlfriend, and she used to be in money management, for a company. She used to manage their accounts payable, accounts receivable, all kinds of things. She's a good friend of mine. And we talk about money because it's fun to talk about money. So she'll tell me some things she just learned about real estate, or I'll tell her something that I'm learning or talking about. And it's just a fun conversation. But she's into it. She's into figuring money out. She's not really, I guess, a mentor, but she's somebody I can talk to, which I would put those people in the mentorship category. People that you can share ideas with, people you can learn from, and people who are finding the positives in the financial world. Even if they're talking about something that is negative, they're looking for how to overcome that. So if interest rates are really high and you want to buy a house, don't talk to the people who say, oh my gosh, interest rates are too high. That's a terrible time. Everything's terrible. Talk to the people who are saying, yeah, it's high, but there are ways to deal with that. We can refinance our house later and buy at a high interest rate now and worry about that later. There are people out there who will mentor you in the money space. Those bankers I talked to about, if you can find a good banker, they'll sit down and have conversations with you about your money. They'll help you to kind of see the bigger picture of what you could add into your banking life that might help you. Money mentors can be anybody in your life. You can hire a money mentor like me, or you could just put yourself in investment groups. Or my son just joined something where it's, I forget what he called it. I think it was a Discord. It's something very young. And there's a guy who's investing in something crazy like international currency. And he has a big group of people who they pay him and they learn from him. And every morning you get online and you can do the same thing he's doing. You can completely copy him, or you can just learn and do your own thing. But, these are people who are all in this group together. He's the mentor, he's teaching, and he's seeing the possibilities. I guess that's the best way I can wrap this up, is a money mentor is there to help you not see the walls and the obstacles to your financial future, but somebody who can help you see the possibilities and teach you and help you and be your cheerleader in this process that can sometimes be hard, and the person who can keep you going when you do run into some walls. So a money mentor. So here are 4 relationships within your relationship with money that you can work on: your banking, your credit score, and your creditors, who I might just add, creditors are people too. And so if you are having a problem with a creditor, my advice is to not come in like, ready ready to kill. Go in, honestly, talk to them about what's going on with you. They are people. They've probably had their own financial issues. I have had more honest conversations with creditors who have helped me out in one way or another, or if they said they couldn't help me out, I've pushed a little harder. But a long time ago, I learned that you can get so much farther without the aggression. So if you give them a real story about what's going on with you, their brains, and if you ask them, how can you help me? Is there something we can do together to, so that you get your money and I get through this? Their brains will turn on to that channel and they will start thinking. Not everybody's, but a lot of people. And you can work your way through some tough times if you have these conversations. So remember, those creditors, they are people too, and you can have conversations with them as well. So your bankers, your creditors, your advisors, and your money mentors. So think about those relationships while you go about your day. Start thinking about, how do I relate to these people, or do I relate to them, or do I put it off and think someday I'll have a relationship like this? If that's where you're going, someday is now, and you can start this today. So thank you for listening. The Money and You Show is brought to you from the Limit Free Life Company, which is designed to help people create work they love and build great relationships with their money. Thank you. We'll see you next week.